In July of 1971, Franklin Wesley McKenzie and his wife Margarita McKenzie and 4 children, Granville, Desmond, Elise, and Heather, moved from the east end of Toronto all the way out west to Georgetown, Ontario. We were looking for a church to attend here on the west side of the city, and this was the first church that we decided to visit. We thought we'll visit a couple or 3 churches and make a choice, and 48 years later we still haven't visited the second church to make a choice. We had been a part of First United Pentecostal Church, 719 Greenwood Avenue, and in fact there are a number of far-sighted people at that church who had come here in 1967 and established a new work in the west end of Toronto. We moved into this place, and over a few short months as things changed, the congregation who had just lost their pastor, he had moved to the United States, they asked if my dad would consider applying for a ministerial license to become the pastor of this church. Well, the district board didn't feel they had anything to lose, and they approved him. And in 1971, when we came, the building didn't look quite the way you see it now. It was really a white clapboard building. The extension you see on the side wasn't there. It seated precisely 96 people. Well, that was plenty to seat what we had for most of the first few years, which was 7. 6 in our family, and 1 dear saint, Sister Amanda Butler, who was with us from the beginning. She is the one who started bringing children to church, coming at her own cost and expense with children. One day we came on a February morning, just driving down the hill on Raymore Drive and coming up to the front door of the church. And as we looked, there was Sister Butler with 3 of these kids under her coat. And that was the day that really sealed the fate of Weston United Pentecostal Church and later, of course, Faith Sanctuary. On that day, with that kind of dedication and commitment being shown, my dad said, I don't care if I'm the only one, I'm going to be faithful to the task. And so this is where it began. This is what God blessed us with. We were here until we sold this building in 1984 for the princely sum of $110,000, and we moved from here to 1831 Weston Road. But thanks be to God. Thanks for the day of small things. Thanks for the day of beginnings. God has been good to us, and we just wanted you to see, here's where it all began. After selling that little church on Brownlee Avenue in 1984, our next stop was 1831 Weston Road, which you see behind me. Now, didn't look quite the same as you see it today. The whole top part of the building was not there. It was a single floor Odeon theater that seated 1,200 people. Now, yes, you heard it right, from 96 to 1,200. That's the kind of faith that my dad had, and he said, well, if we give God the room to fill, he'll fill it. This is the way God works. This is the way God does his miracles. We came to this place and actually have never, from that point to this, missed 1 mortgage payment and had given any cause for doubt to any of our lenders. But God worked a miracle for us. A gentleman came along, the father of one of the young girls in our Sunday school, who decided he was going to help us to rebuild the whole inside of the building. And so he did that. God bless you, Dave Martin. We remember you. You did a phenomenal job. And others came along, engineers and architects who helped us to put the whole 2nd and 3rd floor onto the building, and it is as you see it now. God, from this place, has launched many pastors, many ministers who are currently still in service, pastoring in the city of Toronto and other places in Canada, and even missionaries now in other parts of the world. One of our assistant pastors, Pastor Patrick Groves, is now a missionary to the land of Kenya and South Sudan. As time went by, we needed to expand the church, and so we added the top floor. And during that time of expansion, God in His mercy doubled the size of the church invisibly. Well, we could see it, but it was not because of anything we had done. There was dirt on the floor. There was hoarding around the building. And yet God, in His mercy and in His will, His plan, and His providence, filled this building until my dad called the elders of the church up to the platform to say, "What do you see?" And it was clear we needed to find a new place of worship that would accommodate the people who were now coming to the church. And so in December 1999, we finalized the deal to purchase 1901 Jane Street, and that was the beginning of Faith Sanctuary. We thank God for all of the memories, all of the lives that were transformed, all of the people who were touched here at 1831 Weston Road, and we thank God for His provision in giving us yet another place to call home. And here we are at 1901 Jane Street. On August 31st, 2001, we marched from Weston Road along Lawrence Avenue, north on Jane, to this place. We changed our name. We are now Faith Sanctuary. Faith, of course, in honor of F. Wesley McKenzie, a man of vision, but more than just a man of vision, a man of faith. And so here we are celebrating the fulfillment of what he saw and what he led us into. Now, he is long gone. He passed from this life on March 3rd, 2003. His dear wife, Margarita, went to her reward March 2nd, 2011. And here we are, August 31st, 2019, 20 years after we bought the building, 18 years after we physically moved in, and now we see the end of the vision that F. Wesley McKenzie planted in our hearts, and we have carried forward to this day. And so there may be someone looking into your future today and wondering how things will happen that you have had a vision for and have had faith for. Whether you see it come to pass or someone else takes it across the finish line, have vision and have faith. God will help you to accomplish everything you set your heart to do. In Jesus' name.